A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. This is your content warning. We try to keep things PG-13 around here. However, certain among us have a proclivity towards foul language and foul humor, so viewer discretion is advised. This is your only warning. While we're at it, I should probably note that any opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We have been longtime fans and players of the game, and so we have a vested interest in how game mechanics work, and as a hobby in our group, we enjoy yelling at each other over rules interpretations. So everything that we say is all in good fun. With that in mind, however, I will still ask, Wizards, please hire us. Well, with that out of the way, enjoy the show.
Oh! Just when I thought I was out,
We got 1 week, guys.
they pulled me back in.
We got 1 week with none of this bullshit.
Enemy! They put out another UA, guys. They put out another UA just for us.
We will never be free. This
so
is
that
just
we
the
can
podcast
review
now.
it for they saw all of our stuff last year when we were like, man, we're trying so hard to be a D&D podcast, but we never do enough D&D stuff. And this year they were like, we got you guys.
Sympathy.
I just want to talk about Daggerheart, man. I don't want to talk about D&D anymore.
This UA, pardon my cracking open of a cold one. This UA is all about arcane subclasses, which is why Pertuset keeps singing Enemy by the hit band Imagine Dragons, whose song was used as an opening for the show Arcane.
League of Legends subclasses are finally here again. Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
Finally.
I thought he was just a really big fan of League of Legends.
That is true too. He does like League of Legends.
Yeah. Cringe.
He's like how I am about Honkai Star Rail, but to League of Legends. He really likes like the lore and everything. I respect it.
No, that's not it.
No, he doesn't. Okay, maybe he doesn't like the lore, but he knows a lot of it. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't like the old lore. The new lore I don't know as much.
Oh, did they do like retcon stuff, or is it just like
some retcon, and then some they just add new factions, new groups that are more powerful than old factions and groups that were considered to be more like the most powerful, and it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We've lost sight of the vision.
Yep. That's what you get when you got a MOBA. They gotta add new characters eventually.
That is true. They did cap out. They probably shouldn't have done that. But I mean, they had the excuse because the champions in League of Legends from Runeterra are supposed to come from across all time and space. So like they could have easily been like, yeah, this guy was the strongest on the planet then. But now she's the strongest on the planet now.
What's that name of the hero everyone hates? The pop star with pink hair?
Seraphine?
Yeah.
Yeah, screw that chick.
That's like the main thing I know about League, just simply because you told me about it, is that she exists and like everyone hates her.
I hate her, man. Okay.
That's not what we're talking about this week.
No.
We're not arcane subclasses though. It says arcane subclasses. So that's like Jean
so sorry
and
to
Vi and Echo and Victor and Jace
crossover. It's just
and Singed.
This is just one of those things where it's like the same word, but it means two different things.
A homophone.
Good thing you said that.
What'd you say?
I could say
in
anything.
Pride Month, Jordan?
This will come out after Pride Month. We're fine.
Okay.
So it's okay. Even though that's not even actually what Jordan said. Even
no, that's the word for when words have two meanings.
I know.
So we're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna go through the subclasses and be like, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, and talk about them.
Yeah. Are we gonna start with the new ones first then?
Yes. The two new ones that they've made are Tattooed Warrior for Monk. These are all subclass. We said they're subclasses. I'm crazy. Tattooed Warrior for Monk and Ancestral Sorcery for Sorcerer.
Yeah.
You couldn't guess with that one.
The rest are returners, but these are new. Yes. So let's jump into it. Somebody else do Monk because I'll do Sorcerer.
I'll start Monk.
Okay.
Tattooed Warrior for Monk Enhance martial arts with your magic tattoos. Drawing from diverse body marking traditions across the multiverse, tattooed
Ooh.
warriors can use arcane power imbued in their magic tattoos. These monks gain tattoos as they grow in martial prowess and insight. Tattooed warriors can cause their tattoos to change shape to access a versatile suite of physical and magical effects to overcome foes. So I'll hit the next one too.
Hmm.
Their first thing they get is level 3. As you know, everyone gets their things at level 3. Magic tattoos. Who could have guessed? You gain the magic tattoos described by other features in this subclass. The tattoos appear on your body wherever you wish. Damage or injury doesn't impair your tattoo's function. A magic tattoo's depiction can look like a brand, scarification. I didn't know that was a word. A birthmark, patterns of scale, or any other cosmetic alteration. If a tattoo's effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Your spellcasting ability for spells granted by a tattoo is wisdom, and whenever you finish a long rest, you can reshape one of your magic tattoos, changing the options so that you choose from one list to another option on the same list.
All
Someone,
right.
someone read beast tattoos. Someone.
So Beast Tattoos is also gained at level 3, which makes sense because this is when you would get access to the tattoos. It'd be really silly if you had the ability to get access tattoos, but then you didn't have any tattoos to choose from
Mm-hmm.
yet. You get 2 of them. You got Bat, Butterfly, Chameleon, Crane, Horse, Spider, Tortoise, because they're Beast Tattoos. Bat gives you
Tortoise.
Dancing Lights cantrip. When you expend a focus point to use Patient Defense or Step of the Wind, you gain Blind Sight with a range of 10 feet for 1 minute. Butterfly, you know the light cantrip. You can expend a focus point to cast Silent Image without material components. Chameleon, you know the minor illusion cantrip. You can expend one focus point to cast Disguise Self. Crane, you know the guidance cantrip. When you miss a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, you have advantage on attack rolls for any remaining unarmed strikes without use of flurry of blows. Horse, you know the message cantrip. You can expend one focus point to cast Long Strider without material components. Spider, you know the mending cantrip. When you are hit with a creature or hit a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, the creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before your start of your turn. Tortoise, you know the spare the dying cantrip. You can expend one focus point to cast False Light without material components. So it's basically every single one of these is you get a cantrip. You can cast a spell as a use of a focus point, with the exception of Crane and Spider, which are buff your flurry of blows.
Yes. To me, it seems like a little bit of a not obviously a one-to-one translation, but it's like the same idea
It's
as
the 4 elements.
I was gonna say that, but I was also gonna say a little bit of Totem Barbarian in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the flavor packaging is Totem Barbarian. The subclass of what it
Yeah.
is 4 elements.
Because you pick you're like I'm doing the way of the bat. I'm doing
Mm.
the way of the community. Yeah,
It's because
Why
you're doing
is Tortoise
spells.
spare the dying?
Because it's the most
they live
defensive
longer.
cantrip.
They got shell. They got
I guess there's
But
also Blade
shield
Ward.
is right there.
Shield's
shield
not
is
a
a spell,
cantrip.
and that's too strong in my opinion for a monk to have.
Well, but like have that as like the spell that you can cast conditionally. I don't know.
Mm. False Life also doesn't not make sense because it gives temp HP.
Or bark skin. Bark skin could also work.
True.
Stone skin.
Actually, I'm
Stone
not sure
skin.
if they could make use of either of those because of the way their AC works as a monk, the unarmored thingy.
Well, that sounds like a monk problem.
Let me
That
look
would be
actually.
really funny if they designed a spell that you could take that doesn't work for them.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Stone skin until the spell ends. One willing creature you touch has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So that doesn't even do anything to your AC. So that would be fine if they use stone skin.
True, but what level is Stone Skin?
Fourth.
Yeah, all of these are first, so
Yeah.
they would not give you Stone Skin.
Bark skin. If I spell it right, I can get bark skin.
That one I'm pretty sure is still first.
That is second.
Oh, okay, so that one doesn't work either.
Never mind.
Touch a willing creature. AC of 17 if its AC is lower than that.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. Yeah, no, the old one's second level as well. They didn't up it for 2024, so they're both second level.
Okay. All right, so I will say about this, if you go Crane Spider though, you're kind of cracked.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
I feel like that's the
The-
best possible combination.
If you want,
Hmm.
if you're being really combat heavy, which I mean, as a monk, you probably should be.
Mhm.
You're gonna be one of the probably like glass cannon of the party if you're a monk. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
giving creatures disadvantage on their attack rolls
Hmm.
pretty much for free because it doesn't cost you any resource other than Flurry of Blows, which does cost a focus point.
Yeah.
Um, but that's pretty darn nice.
True. This kind of goes back into the when Monk first came out, we were talking about how it seemed like the whole thing they were trying to do with Monk was instead of having you have high AC to avoid damage, you had a bunch of things you could do to the enemy to avoid damage, like avoiding them hitting you. And so
Mhm.
that sort of plays into this again. It just furthers that along. If you're a crane or spider, the other ones, whatever.
Yeah, the others are just those spells. I don't think they're going to be that good unless you want to do it.
Depends
But
on what you're trying to do. If you have something flavory in mind that you want to do, they could work. Bat might be okay.
yeah,
Um,
but
but
like
if you're
Silent
going specifically
Image,
for like use in combat, Crane and Spider are gonna be
yeah.
what you want.
Horse maybe also wouldn't be too bad because that boosts your movement speed, and as a monk,
Hmm.
that can get a little silly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jordan, the next one.
Level 6 Celestial Tattoo. You gain an additional magic tattoo depicting a celestial phenomenon. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Comet. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Find Traps. Crescent Moon. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Misty Step. Eclipse. 2 focus points to cast Invisibility without material components. And Sunburst is 2 focus points to cast Lesser Restoration.
Better.
Why
So
does
less
Comet
combat.
find traps?
I don't
I have
know.
no idea. That's
Because
really funny
I
though.
was looking at all the other ones and I was like,
The
those
rest
kind
of
of
them
make
kind of
sense.
make sense, yeah.
Moon, because Misty Step is like a Fey spell, so Moon.
Mm,
Eclipse, obviously covered up invisibility. Sunburst, the sun is like healing, so lesser restoration. Comet, find traps?
I
yes.
don't know what else you would put like
Melts
to
minute
me that would
meteors.
be the only one that I would think
No,
would be a combat spell would be Comet. The rest makes sense, but that one I'm like that would make more sense to be like
Mm.
Guiding Bolt.
So those
yeah,
are
guiding bolt or something.
better.
They're better, yeah.
Misty Step, I think, is not as useful on a monk as it is on other classes because they already have
They
ways to
already have
get out of
Phobos
situations,
movement, yeah.
especially with bonus actions, which that would just
Yeah.
be. It's really Misty Step is if you need to teleport.
Yeah, it's if you
Um,
really want it, you can take it, but you really don't need it.
In fact, it will be less movement for you if you just use your
Hmm.
bonus action dash as a monk most of the time. It's only exclusively if for whatever you need, whatever you're doing, you need to teleport, you can't walk to it.
I think
Um,
Eclipse is probably the best one out of these.
Invisibility, I
Mhm.
think, is probably the last one or best one
Invisibility
there.
is both good in combat and out of combat. It's
Yes,
very, very good effect to have.
and that
Lesser
would make for
Restoration
a
is
sick
also
tattoo.
useful.
That's
Lesser
all right.
Restoration
It's a
is
bit
kind
niche.
of useful. Yeah, it's
What was
niche.
the
You guys have
rule
just
there?
you've in the D&D you're playing right now, you've had a lot of
Mm,
encounters with restoration spells because of someone. So it
Can't
feels
imagine
more
who that would
useful
be.
for us right now, but I think in an actual like grand scheme of things, it's probably not
yeah,
as widely used as we
there's
think it is.
too much immunity to disease in D&D normally
Yeah,
for lesser
especially if you're a
restoration to be
monk.
useful.
Although
But I
I get
did
yeah, it would
say,
be for other people, not yourself necessarily.
yeah, if you finish a long rest, you trade them out. So honestly, if for some reason you
Oh
have
yeah, I forgot
nobody
about that.
else in your team that can use lesser restoration, the monk can be like, "Let me rest. I'll get a
Mhm.
new
Yeah.
tattoo. I'll take care of it."
I forgot about that. For some reason, I was even though it literally says that at the end of the thing I read, um,
Mm.
I forgot that you can swap these out, and I was thinking like you picked one and that was it. You were locked in, like sorcerer.
Oh well, no, only sorcerers can have that
Yeah,
happen.
no, only sorcerers can have that.
Anyway, Levi, the next one.
Oh yeah, that's me. At level 11, you get a nature tattoo. Are you understanding now the theme? You get an additional magic tattoo depicting a natural feature. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Mountain. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to acid damage and advantage on Constitution saving throws for 1 minute. Isn't that something that something else had in like the last UA? I'm getting like
um,
deja vu specifically for resistance to acid damage and advantage on Constitution saving throws.
I mean,
I
sure,
can't
there's
remember.
probably
It's run
something that
together
did
at this
that.
point.
But also I don't like that it's just acid damage, but we'll talk about that after. Storm as a magic action, you could expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to lightning damage. Okay, I see what's going on here.
Mm.
And gain advantage on dex saving throws for a minute. Volcano, gain resistance to fire damage and advantage on strength saving throws. And Wave, resistance to cold damage, and advantage on wisdom saving throws for 1 minute.
Interesting in theory.
Kind of meh.
Gonna be pretty hard because you're gonna have to predict what you're gonna face.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're in a certain themed adventure or campaign, you may be able to predict it. Like, oh, if I'm in the campaign that's called Fire Demon Molten Lava Land, I'll probably take the volcano
Yeah.
tattoo.
No, why would you
But
do that?
well, I just thought it might come in handy. I really like strength saving throws. That aside, though, it's going to be too tough to guess for the resistance, and the only other thing that's worthwhile really is Dex saving throw because you'll have evasion as a monk at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Getting advantage means you could take 0 damage
Yep. I
from
mean,
any
con and whiz
Dex
saving
save.
throws are also kind of common. Strength saving throws are not very common, like
No,
at all, which
nope.
is kind of the tragedy, I think, of Volcano. Is the resistance is probably the most common out of the 4 of them for fire,
Hmm.
but the saving throws doo doo.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
pretty bad unless you're doing like a grapple monk, but even still, that's not saving throws. Um, yeah, sure, okay. Finishing it up, 17, monster tattoo. Beholder, you have a fly speed of 10 feet and can hover. Additionally, you can expend 3 points to cast Counter Spell. Blink Dog, when you expend a focus point to use Patient Defense, you can expend 3 focus points to cast Blink immediately after that bonus action.
That's cool.
Displacer Beast, when you expend a focus point to use Flurry of Blows or Step of the Wind, you can expend 2 focus points to cast Mirror Image immediately after that bonus action. Guardian Naga, when you would be reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, your hit points instead change to a number equal to twice your monk level. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until your long rest. I always love features that do that. They're silly and dumb, but there's a lot of them, and it's really funny to me.
Mm-hmm. These are pretty all right.
They're okay. They are focus point heavy, which I mean, I
They
guess
are.
you're at that point of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
level
you're trying to
17.
get them, trying to use them.
Yeah. I think Beholder's probably the worst one.
Mm.
That or Blink Dog.
Yeah, fly speed of 10 feet is not good.
That's pretty bad if you're a monk. That
I mean, I wouldn't, just because of the fact that it's a monk, I wouldn't have done like fly speed equal to your walking speed, but I still would have done like of
Like
30
30
feet or
feet.
something.
Yeah.
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 10 feet is really
That's just
bad.
mean.
Mhm.
Imagine
Um,
having a movement speed below 30 feet. Couldn't be me.
I'm working on
A
it.
monk shouldn't have to imagine
No,
having
they
That's
really
true.
shouldn't. That's no, you basically just tanked half the point of a monk, which is being
Yeah.
able to
Mhm.
zip around the battlefield. It's stupid.
I think the Displacer Beast one is kind of going to be a slept-on hit right there because being able to mirror image for the
Yeah.
equivalent of 3
Mhm.
points over and over again is insane because that gives you a 1/4 chance to not be hit by attacks, and if you can just keep doing it,
Not even a 1/4, it's like a 75% chance to not be hit by attacks, right?
true.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty
Um,
good. Blink is pretty good as well because you just blink out of combat until
Mhm.
your next turn, so you
mhm.
can't be hit. But also that's interesting because it does it after you do patient defense, which is like why? Because you
Yeah, it'd
blink
be
out of
like a
combat.
waste.
Yeah, so that one doesn't synergize as well. Yeah, no, Displacer Beast is
Mm,
probably the one that synergizes better.
yeah,
And then obviously Guardian Naga, that's good if you just
That's pretty good.
it's
if
a
you
good
just
like
don't
it's
want
a
to
just
die.
in
Yeah,
case. Yeah,
yeah. All right, that's a tattoo monk. What's our overall feelings about it?
it's fine. I personally don't care for the flavor.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as someone who play like all of my characters are very specific aesthetic wise, and there's something that bugs me in the back of my brain that there's no through line for any of the tattoos. So like there's not if you have a very specific stylized character and you just have this mishmash of tattoos and it's
Hmm.
grinding something in my brain, I'm like, no,
Mm.
the aesthetic.
It is true. There's a strong chance that, like, if you made a tattooed warrior monk, someone else that made a tattooed warrior monk is going to have the exact same visual
Yeah.
look to them,
Mhm.
which will be
It's
annoying.
the problem of the totem barbarian once again, where there are some that are just better than others, and so everyone's
Mm.
gonna use those specific ones.
Yeah. Well, but there's no visual cohesion across the good ones, is
Yeah,
the
that too.
Mhm.
problem. So it's like you have this which I mean, not all tattoos have to match, obviously.
There's
But
no
me
visual
designing a
cohesion across the
D&D character,
categories.
I'm like, Yeah, exactly. Like I would understand if they did like the warlock thing, if they had the subclasses where you went all in on like the celestial tattoos and there were scaling versions of the celestial tattoos, or like the monster, like that makes
True.
sense to
That
me.
probably
It
would have been the
doesn't
better
make
is
way to
sense to
do
me
it.
that you have like I have a crane on my
yeah.
arm and the moon on
That
the
is
other
also
one is
something I
weird
keep
for
going back
me.
to it, but that is something Totem Barbarian does, which is where if you keep going down the same totem path, it buffs like your previous stuff that you took, so you are incentivized. Like if you pick
Hmm.
this
Mhm.
specific totem to do another one that is in line with it next time, unless you just really don't want to, because it'll buff stuff, and that this does not do that at all, which I wish
I
it
feel
kind
like
of
it's not
would.
cohesive. Yeah, I wish that
Yeah,
you had the different subsets of this is the vibe of tattoo. Like, this is what I'm going for.
Yep.
yeah.
Just flat out. Just from a character design standpoint. And that may just be a me concern because I'm thinking of trying to draw this character and being like, I don't want to draw all the individual tattoos. Like, give me a cohesive sleeve that I can
Hmm.
put on the arm, and that's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with it mechanics wise. It seems like it could be a pretty fun
Mm,
monk to play. But yeah, I completely agree with both of you on like the vision flavor wise seems completely scattered, and I don't know what you would like if you're looking to make a character that's like character wise interesting. I feel like that could be a little bit hampering.
Well, I guess for this one, I should suspend it a little bit, but you know how we all feel, or at least especially how I feel about your feature is you cast a spell.
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
thing that you get to do is you get to cast a spell.
that's the
Yeah.
thing that you
Also
get to do if
bogus.
you're a 2024 character. That's a
Yes, and I hate it. Now, I guess like this is our equivalent of like Eldritch Knight and all that. So this
yeah.
UA is for that stuff. This is four elements. That's what this is. It's just four elements repackaged, buffed a little bit, I think.
I forget, was four elements in 2024E or was it not
No.
anymore? Okay,
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
so yep.
Um, yeah, I don't like it personally. To me, my thing is, I mean, I guess if for some reason you're like, no, I don't want to play an arcane trickster, and I don't want to play an eldritch knight, but I know I want to play a martial that uses spells. This is for you out there, all 20 of you.
Finally, the
Um,
monk gets their spell slinger, even though they had that in 2014. But you know,
yeah. I also think it's really funny that most of the reason anyone ever played that subclass is because they wanted to try to be Avatar,
mm,
and
Yeah.
now you can't do that
No, you
with
can't
yep.
this.
be Avatar.
Um,
Now your four elements are animal,
mm-hmm.
star,
Yes. Leaf,
rock,
green leaf.
and
Oh,
creature.
yes.
So cohesive.
But I don't know. I wouldn't know. You wouldn't catch me dead playing this subclass. I don't like Gishes already. A monk Gish is so weird to me.
You might catch him alive playing it though.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
I just feel like there's more potential within the like why are they spread across levels? Because now I'm imagining like a really cool celestial monk that's got like a star map of the night sky tattooed on their back or something, and it like the
Yeah.
different constellations do stuff. That could be cool.
Yes, you could cast Fine Traps for one focus point.
Exactly.
Okay, I
All
think we need to
right.
move on beyond
Yep.
Yeah,
the
I'm done with
tattooed
that one.
warrior.
Okay, that takes us to me, Ancestral Sorcery. Bear the power of a spellcasting lineage. Your innate magic comes from a specific ancestor who wielded such awesome magical power that a fragment of their personality guides you. I love the D&D movie.
They finally did the like most obvious available sorcerer subclass, which is just you're
Hmm.
like the grandkid of a super powerful wizard.
My
Mhm.
dad is Volo.
Yeah.
Um, this ancestor grants you guidance and direction as you explore your innate magical abilities. You might be the ancestor's sole surviving descendant, a reincarnation who bears an eerie resemblance to your ancestor, or a victim of a curse gained from handling your ancestor's personal effects. A curse? Oh, I got to see my grandfather now? Okay. Uh,
My curse is I have to visit the nursing home every 2 weeks.
yes.
I don't have a choice. It just teleports me into the lobby.
Yep.
So first up, I'll do the first one. Level 3 Ancestors Lore. Use your force of personality to channel your ancestors' knowledge. When you make an intelligence check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your charisma modifier. You also gain proficiency in one of these skills: Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature, or Religion. Sure, simple.
You didn't do the next one, or you want someone else to do the next one?
You get some spells.
Yeah, you get spells. Ancestral spells.
Yeah. 3, 5, 7, 9.
Command, guidance, locate object, protection from evil and good, resistance, spiritual weapon, magic circle, spirit guardians, divination, locate creature, legend lore, Yolan's regal presence.
Yeah.
Don't know
I
that
haven't
one.
heard of that one.
That's one of the new ones.
Weird.
Ah.
Not from this UA, but from this edition.
Mm.
They're all divination themed. Having spiritual weapon as a sorcerer is kind of freaking goated, I won't lie.
Having
Spiritual
spirit
weapons
guardians is
always
pretty good.
goaded.
Mm-hmm.
You surround yourself. This is Yolan's regal presence, by the way. You surround yourself with an unearthly majesty in a 10-foot emanation. Whenever the emanation enters a space of a creature you can see, and whenever a creature you can see enters the emanation or ends its turn there, you can force that creature to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 46 psychic damage and has the prone condition, and you can push it up to 10 feet away. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage. A creature makes this save only once per turn. It's a 5th level spell.
Me.
Concentration lasting 1 minute.
I feel like Spirit Guardians is probably better than that, but you know.
Yes, because it does more damage and is bigger area.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give them prone condition or push them, which also I don't know why you would want to push them, because then that puts them out of the emanation. But well, I guess to get farther away from you. But yeah. Level 3, Visage of the Ancestor. We're still in level 3. I don't know why I said level 3 like it was a new level. We've been in level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Choose the form your ancestor takes. What? Which might resemble the ancestor in life, or a symbolic creature. While your innate sorcery feature is active, this form appears in a spectral haze around you, and you have advantage on any ability check you make as
Ugh.
part of the influence action. We love the influence action!
Gosh.
We
That's
What is the
so
influence action even
stupid.
for? Wait.
That's charisma checks. It's all the charisma checks.
Okay. Okay.
And also that action, that like skill thing or ability or whatever we want to call it, is part of the old spirit medium, one of the subclasses. Just straight up.
It's ancestors. It just makes sense. My thing is you have to use your innate sorcery feature, which is the new sorcerer rage they added, where for a minute you're better at spell casting, but you only have so many uses per day. Why, on God's green earth, would I use my one or few times a day feature that gives me better spell casting to do better as the influence action?
Mm-hmm.
Because
I mean, if you're in an
this is the
intrigue
inverse of
campaign,
the monk. Now they're
There-
like, clearly you're going to be doing RP all the time.
There are obviously way easier ways to get advantage on one check than using your once or twice
Nope.
a day feature.
Mm-mm. Actually, as part of the next feature, you can't get advantage on influence checks from anything else besides this.
it's only this.
Let me also say, by the way, can I say for intimidation, maybe, but why is seeing my dead grandfather helping me persuade somebody?
I don't know,
Maybe he's
man.
really
I don't-
hot.
He's
Oh, like Kinzo?
He's just. Do not agree with that,
I
Jordan.
was just gonna, I'm gonna yes and yeah.
No.
Yes.
You would know if you watched our early Neko streams, but you hate us, so
No, this is too good a bit.
I thought you were about to say this is true, and I was
No.
about to be like, oh, okay.
No, this is too good a bit. Yeah, that's the persuasion. They see your hot dead grandfather, and they immediately give you all of their stuff.
If
If
you
it was
succeed
Kinzo,
on the
I'd
check,
get
you
it.
can still fail with advantage.
Yeah, that's true too.
Not with that attitude.
Gosh. Okay.
Level 6. Superior Spell Disruption. Your ancestor's spellcasting mastery aids you in breaking spells. You always have counterspell and dispel magic prepared. While your innate sorcery feature is active, you can cast a spell without expending a spell slot. If you cast counterspell in this way, the target has disadvantage on its Constitution saving throw. That's not bad. If you cast a spell magic in this way, you have advantage on your ability checks to end ongoing spells. Once you cast either spell without a spell slot, you must finish a long rest before you can cast the spell this way again.
It's all right.
Yeah, that's an alright feature, especially for being level 6. That's not
Yeah,
Yeah,
horrible.
I
not
just
bad.
it's an okay feature. It's just weird
It
for
is
this
weird
class's
flavor-wise,
flavor.
which that
Yeah.
seems to be the problem they've had with like all of the 2024 E stuff.
Not
Mhm.
Is
consistent.
like either it doesn't fit consistently with like this is the identity of the class, or the class doesn't really have much identity. And on rare occasions you get one that is good. Like recently we've had a couple that were like, okay, I like this.
Hmm.
But generally it's like 80% of the time that just seems to always be the problem is it's like here's a decent feature that you will like using, why do you use it as the thing you are what.
Yeah. Well, let's keep pressing. We got a few more to read here.
Ancestral sorcerer is apparently the anti-magic
It's
sorcerer, I
it's
guess.
it's divination. This is
Yeah.
divination wizard, the sorcerer. Um, but for now, level 14, Ancestral Majesty. Your ancestor's visage evokes awe or dread. While your innate sorcery feature is active, you are surrounded by a magical aura and a 5-foot emanation. Whenever a creature you can see enters the emanation or ends its turn there, you can force that creature to make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature has the prone condition or has the frightened condition until the end of your turn. Your choice. A creature makes a save only once per turn. Next turn, by the way, your next turn. That's a much worse version of the
Yeah.
Yolan's Regal Presence, which you would
And
have already had
also
access to that spell.
really terrible for a level 14 feature.
Mm-hmm. But you get another level 14 feature, Steady Spellcaster. Your
Oh,
deep
okay.
connection with your ancestor steadies you. Taking damage can't break your concentration on sorcerer spells.
That's pretty all right.
That's okay, but eh. Well, I mean, like you shouldn't be taking damage if you're concentrating on a spell in the first place. As the sorcerer, you shouldn't be taking damage.
Oh yeah, but you can't just say like, oh, you shouldn't be taking damage because I mean you might take damage.
It's true, but it's just
Like it's
I don't
not
know.
that's not a completely unavoidable circumstance no matter what. So like it's all right to have concentration, or not have concentration, but you can't break concentration. It would be different if it was like, oh, you have advantage, but just straight up you can't break concentration on sorcerer spells. That's pretty good.
It's okay. There's not a lot of good concentration sorcerer spells in their repertoire. The other thing is since concentration are con saves and sorcerers get proficiency in con saves just by being sorcerers. At that level 14, you're already gonna have a +4 just from being proficient in it. I don't even know what your constitution score would be, and you already have ways, I'm sure, to give yourself advantage.
It wouldn't necessarily be too high as a sorcerer because that's not the first priority at least isn't con.
No, but it's just that's not that great.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times? I mean, especially with how many spell slots you have, if you lose concentration, you're gonna be like, "Oh, drat, my spell's gone, and now I'm not ever gonna use it again." Oh, wait. Also,
I think
because you
it's
have sorcery points too, so you could just get the spell slot back.
true. I think it's more of a like, what if you're concentrating on a spell that's like really important that you have concentration on it, and so it's more circumstantial. I think it's one of those things that in particular circumstances you're gonna be like, I'm really glad I have this feature, but otherwise not.
Mm. I think it's one of those things that whenever, like, if you didn't have this feature, you'd be like, "No, the world's ending," and then you'd realize very quickly, "Oh, wait, this
It
isn't that
doesn't do
bad
a
at
whole
all.
lot.
It
Yeah,
doesn't really matter." It doesn't.
yeah.
Okay, there's one final
Level
feature.
18 feature instead of level 17.
Yes, level 18, Ancestor's Ward. Your Ancestor's Protection redirects harmful magic away from you while your innate sorcery feature is active. You gain advantage on saving throws against spells. Once during your use of innate sorcery, when you fail a saving throw against a spell, you can choose to succeed instead.
Okay, now it's just Abjuration Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Choose to succeed is all right. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah, it really does. I don't understand.
What is the point of this?
If they more so doubled down on it being like your ancestor, quote unquote, was like a super powerful wizard, if this was like wizard ancestry, I could see it a little bit more because it could be like the power of their abjuration magic flows through you or stuff. But no, they're being intentionally vague and being like your
Mhm.
ancestor. So I'm like, but even then, even if it was wizard, that's still a little bit of like a tenuous thing to be like their abjuration magic protects you from.
Mhm. I'm like, so if the vision is ancestor boosts you, to me, That's like, well, my ancestor would have been adept in
It's
magic in some way.
it's literally the battler seeing the vision of Kenzo pointing
Yeah,
to
true.
the.
I feel like, okay, I mean, like, what was it? Ancestors lore, you get more skills. Sure. That aside, none of this makes any sense to me.
Not really. No.
If your thing is you had an ancestor, and I presume they were magical because you are a sorcerer, I think that would be the reason you would want to buff spell casting en masse in some way. Like as a reaction, your next spell attack has +5 or something like that, or plus your
Mhm.
bonus or proficiency bonus. I would feel like it would be the time to boost your spell casting. Maybe give you more spells, spell slots or spells known, something like that.
Ooh, that would be interesting. I don't think the subclass has ever done that, is having a subclass for some caster that like gives you just straight up more spell slots than other classes.
Well, that would
I
just
feel
be
like
too
that'd probably be
difficult.
cool. Yeah.
Who could possibly think of that? Certainly not the people paid for it.
Dang it, we
Oh,
can't blame Jeremy Crawford anymore. I'm upset. We need
you
to find a
can't
new name to
be.
call the Antichrist.
Is there a reason I can't blame him? Because I'm still gonna.
Well, I mean, you can, but he doesn't. He didn't work on this,
It's all
presumably.
his
Mm,
fault. It's
It's
all
all
his
his
fault.
fault.
okay. Well, I mean, what more is there to say about that one? It's kind of a letdown.
What if your
Yeah.
ancestor is just so normal that that's why the magic stuff happens? Is it's
Dude,
like it's the
What if your
opposite.
ancestor's Jeremy Crawford?
if my ancestor is so basic as to be Jeremy Crawford, then I want actually no subclass features. I want solely sorcerer class features, and that is it.
Subclass
He
normal
doesn't even
guy.
work for wizards anymore.
No, apparently, I mean, he's part of sorcerers now, right?
Yeah, he's just.
Apparently, yeah.
Turncoat. Add that to the list of sins.
Oh, so what were the other two we were gonna do? We
He
were gonna do
can't
Arcane
win.
Archer and
I don't know. We could go to Hexblade because I'm kind of curious
Hexblade.
now to see what they changed about it.
Yeah, Hexblade is next. We can do Hexblade.
Mhm.
If
Okay.
you all remember, they gutted Hexblade in the, what was it? The creepy UA, whatever it was called. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
And they brought it back,
The
which
horror
surprises me.
subclasses.
Yeah. It's here. It's here again. They heard the backlash and they're like, "All right, we're gonna fix it this time. I swear."
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you remember, when we did that, Pertuset was like, they're not gonna do it because usually these UAs have been locked in.
Hmm.
Once they have them on paper, that's usually what it's gonna be. So Pertuset was very skeptical, about them changing it at all.
This is
I'm
the
gonna
first time we've seen something come back since the 2024 PHB.
see.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna throw this out before we start reading it. What if it just didn't get enough attention as part of the horror subclasses, so they changed nothing from that and just re-put it in this UA because they needed an
No.
additional subclass?
No, they wouldn't do that. I
No,
think
the thing at the top of the update says, since its latest appearance in the Unearthed Arcana, these are
Dang
the
it.
changes we've made. So
yeah.
all of those little bullet points right there are all changes
Mm.
from the last Unearthed Arcana.
My guess is they just doubled down and like buffed things, but it's still the same core class as it was before, which means only hexes, no more blades.
Yeah.
What if?
But let's
Forge a
see.
pact with a cursed blade.
Yeah,
I'm gonna open the other one so I can cross-reference.
Yes,
good
that's a
idea.
good idea. You've made a pact with a sentient magic weapon, and the curse forces contained within its blade. Such a weapon could be a sword sheathed at your side, or it could be a manifestation of an infamous magic weapon like Black Razor or the Sword of Kas, projecting its power to further its legend. To those willing to follow the weapon's whims, these inscrutable, I can't read, inscrutable patrons offer the power to bestow malignant curses, deliver punishing blows, and bolster the wielder. Design notes, Hexblade spells have been revised. Hexblade's curse has returned as a feature in its own right. So at least they fixed that, but can also
Mhm.
loop through spells that place a curse on a creature, such as Bestow Curse and Hex. Hungering Hex has been moved to this level, and a Cursed Shield is a new feature. Unyielding Unyielding Will. I words not working today. Hardly
Mhm.
ever do they. Unyielding Will is a new feature that grants you benefits when maintaining concentration on spells. Malign Brutality is a new feature that gives you additional benefits hindering curse, formerly the Stymieing Mark maneuver, has been moved there. Armor of Hexes no longer has limited uses and scales with your Warlock level. Masterful Hex now increases the power and usability of the updated Hexblade's Curse feature.
Sure, let's see it. Also, Unyielding Will, that's the name of my ancestor for the sorcery thing.
Like his name's Will, like William.
Yes.
It's just unyielding
It's
Will.
Unyielding Will.
Some call him Billy. Never
Oh
give
my
up,
God.
Billy.
Unstoppable Bill.
Yeah.
And then your spells 3, 5, 7, Arcane Vigor, Hex Shield, Wrathful Smite.
I think these are all still the same as the
Bestow
last
Curse,
one.
Conjure Barrage, Freedom of Movement, Staggering Smite, and Animate Objects, Steel Wind Strike.
Yes, those haven't changed at all. Those are all the same as they were in the last UA.
Let me say, I will say it's so funny to me. Conjure Barrage and Steel Wind Strike are like two of the only ranger spells that are only ranger spells, and virtually every subclass just gets them. It's very funny to me.
Screw Ranger.
Yes, more.
But it's back! At level 3, you get Hexblade's Curse.
What's it do?
As a bonus action, choose a creature you can
None
see
of us
within
can
30
read.
feet of yourself. The target is cursed for 1 minute, during which you gain the benefits below. The curse ends early if you use this feature again. If you dismiss it, no action required, or die. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that curses a target, you can use your Hexblade's Curse as part of casting that spell instead of taking a bonus action. When you do so, the target of the spell is the target of your Hexblade's Curse, and your Hexblade's Curse duration is either 1 minute or the spell's duration, whichever is longer. And what it can do is you can do Hungering Hex. When the target cursed by your Hexblade's Curse drops to 0 hit points, you regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Charisma modifier, or Accursed Shield. While you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield, you gain a +2 to AC when you are within 10 feet of the target cursed by your Hexblade's Curse.
Not or, by the way. You get both.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, yeah, you get both. Okay. I was confused by what you meant by not or because I thought you were saying about the Accursed Shield specifically where it says or right there, and I was like, what do you mean?
No.
It says or right there.
The word does not exist.
So yeah, you get Hungering Hex and Accursed Shield at the same time.
Certainly still worse than 2014, but you do get more uses, and
Yes.
And it's
being
not a
part of a
spell.
spell cast is interesting.
Yes. It does encourage more use of it because you can just do it on top of another spell, another curse spell.
Yeah, this way you're not doing a bunch of setup turns where it's like, okay, this turn I'm going to cast Hex, and then I'm going to do Hexblade's Curse, and the next turn I'm going to do Bestow Curse, and
Yep. Which, in the last one, you got both of these at level 6, so they've dropped this down to level 3 now.
that's good at least.
Yep.
All right. Next up,
And you
level
get
3.
Pertuset's Ancestor.
Yeah, Unyielding Will. When you succeed on a saving throw to maintain concentration, each creature of your choice in a 10-foot emanation originating from you takes 2d6 necrotic damage. Once you use this benefit, you can't do so again until the start of your next turn. In addition, when you fail a saving throw to maintain concentration, you can choose to succeed instead, and you gain a number of temp HP equal to 1d10 plus your Warlock level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest.
Yeah, no, that one's new. So,
Brand new, level 3.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's a pretty good feature for early.
Being able to succeed on concentration, especially when you're being incentivized to be upfront and melee from the other level 3 features with Hungering Hex and Accursed Shield. That's pretty good.
The choice.
Also, just doing extra damage when you succeed on a concentration saving throw is pretty good too.
The choice of it is what I like. You can choose to maintain concentration.
Yes.
As a Warlock, more than often, you are probably going to want to because they have a lot less spell slots to work with. But nevertheless, you can be like, no, I'll lose this one and I'll save my feature for the next time. You know.
I wish it would also give you a thing if you failed instead, so that you would have like a choice between failing or succeeding. I just don't know what that would be. Perhaps when you fail, you gain the 10 hit points instead of keeping the concentration up. So then that's your choice of like, do I want a little bit of like an extra shield right now, or because I have so few spell slots, would I rather keep the concentration on this going for now?
I kind of dig that. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would give you a little bit more of an incentive to be like, maybe I do fail. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But I do like it. It's a pretty decent feature. Especially for being level 3.
I was gonna say for a level 3, it's really good, but do not
Mhm.
multi-class, guys.
No multi-classing. Not allowed. Level 6, Malign Brutality. Your patron's might furthers your bloodthirst, granting you the following benefits. Harrowing Hex. After you cast a level 1+ spell that has a casting time of an action, you can make one attack with a weapon as a bonus action. Hindering Curse. When you hit the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse with an attack roll, the target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn. Inescapable Hex. When the target of your Hexblade's curse ends its turn 30 feet or further from you, you can move up to your speed straight towards the target.
So this is, I mean, they said it in the thing up top, but this is like, it's kind of like the old maneuvers, but they've reworked it and made it not maneuvers, because if you remember, the Hexblade had their weird
Yeah.
hex maneuvers in the last one. So yeah.
That's how TJ takes people's like turns and reactions, right?
No, that's from an item.
No,
That's a
that's
whole new
I
item.
couldn't
That's
remember where that came from.
No,
that is
that's his
not a
sword that I
normal
gave him.
thing.
Yeah,
That
that's
Okay.
Brew. That's
I can never keep track.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. The Wizards would never make an item that could do something that good.
I
That's why
don't
I was
believe
confused.
For
the
effect.
2014 Warlock has the like maneuvers either.
Ah.
I don't think that's a thing
Yeah.
for that 2014 Hexblade.
Hexblade's Curse in 2014 is just the one effect at level 1 that you get once. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's really good because it gives you like crits on 19 to 20. It lets you heal after you kill something. It gives you a
Yep.
bonus to damage. But that's it. It doesn't really scale.
Yeah.
This is all right. This is good. Again, Harrowing Hex. Cast level 1+ spell. Get an action, bonus action attack. Don't multi-class. Do not take 6
Don't
levels and then multi-class into Paladin. Don't do it. Don't
do
you
that.
dare. And don't even think about doing like Blade Singer or like Swords Bard.
Mm-mm.
Anyway. Level 10. Armor of Hexes. When you take damage from the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to your Warlock level. Pretty simple.
Okay, that's different from the last one. The last one was 2d8 plus your charisma modifier.
Oh,
So
I guess that's how they're doing it.
if you get max, could be better by 1 because it could be
Mhm.
21 if you
This
have a
is
+5 to charisma.
this is how they're reducing the multi-class. If everything scales by Warlock level, you won't multi-class, right? Who
But it's
cares
only when you
if
get to level 10.
I was gonna say, who cares if it's at level 10 and all it does is reduce 10 damage with a maximum of eventually reducing 20? It's a nice feature, but it ain't that great.
Yeah. I don't think 20 is nothing to sniff at, but 10's not great.
20's not bad at level 10. 20 at level 20 can be bad because most things are
True.
probably going to do 50 or more damage per attack.
Yeah, you're
I'm
just
just
kind of
thinking though
making
that
it
20
not even a
could be
dent.
the difference between being up and being down, depending on how big the attack is.
My other thing is that at level 3 you already can get temp HP plus your
That too.
Warlock level. So, I don't know, it's a bit much.
They should have put this at like the beginning of the class.
You
They should-
already
this
have
should
ways to
have been
survive.
a level 3 feature because then what you were saying actually would apply to it, where it's like, oh, this scales with my level, let me not multiclass. But since it's at level
True.
10,
True. The smart thing would be to swap Unyielding Will and Armor of Hexes because, like, then you have Armor of Hexes early, which does keep you alive a little bit because, like, at early levels, saving 3 damage might matter.
Yeah.
But then you don't get the relatively busted Unyielding Will at level 3. You'd have to get all the way to
Yes.
level 10 to get it.
that would be really good actually, yeah, if they swapped
That
the
makes a
ability
lot
to
of sense.
Texas. That would do really good. And again, yeah, it would actually decentivize multiclassing if you did it then. But yeah, like like a lot of people don't even play all the way to level 10.
Yeah.
A lot of people play like to level 8 or 9 and then they're done.
Hey, this is 2024. This ain't your grandpappy's D&D. Everybody's playing to level 20 now.
Baldur's Gate 3, which I know isn't like a Wizards thing, but Baldur's Gate 3 only goes to level 12 because of how
Wait, that's wild.
busted playing up to level 12 actually can be.
Do you think they didn't play up to level 20 in the D&D movie?
No.
No, that's what, because they plan to have sequels. They gotta have somewhere to go.
Honestly, I feel like they were like level 5 at the end of the 2020 or the 2020 at the end of the D&D movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were probably pretty small level there.
Oh.
Okay, Jordan, you want to bring it home?
sure. Level 14, Masterful Hex. The power of your Hexblade's curse increases, granting the following benefits. A cursed critical. Any attack roll you make against target cursed. Why am I having so much trouble reading today?
Mm.
Any attack roll you make against the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse scores a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 on the d20.
That's the same.
Yep.
They didn't change
Explosive
that.
Hex. When you deal damage to a target cursed by your Hexblade's curse, you can cause your curse to explode with sinister energy. The target and each creature of your choice and a 30-foot emanation originating from the target takes 3d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, your choice, and their speed is reduced by 10 until the start of your next turn. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a pack magic slot, no action required to restore your use of it. Hex Restoration. You regain 1 expended use of Hexblade's Curse when you finish a short rest or use your Magical Cunning feature.
Meh. Not
It's
bad.
okay. It's much better than the last one. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Infectious Hex sucked. It was when you use one of your maneuvers, you can target one additional creature within 30 feet of the cursed target, and it takes 1d6 necrotic damage. And then Resilient
Awesome.
Hex was taking damage, can't break your concentration on Hex, which they just moved
Yeah.
to Unyielding Will, which is much better.
Mhm.
So Explosive Hex is much better because it's 3d6 instead of 1d6, and you get
Yeah.
more damage type choices, and it reduces their speed by 10 feet, and you can restore it. And yeah, but it's all right. It's not great
Mhm.
overall. Again, they just moved the critical on 19 or 20 from Hex Blade's Curse in general to now being at level 14 instead, which is like,
I'm gonna be so real. I still don't think this is better than the 2014 version.
I don't think it's better than the 2014
No,
version. I
it's
do
better
think
than
it's an
the
improvement
UA,
upon what
yeah.
it was.
Don't be careful, guys. You're falling for the bait. You're doing what they want you to. Think about it. They released a really bad version and then they said, "No, also we're so sorry. Here's the right one." And it's still worse than what we had, but now since it's better than the last one, we're like, "Okay, thank God. I'll take it,
Yeah,
Oh no,
wizard."
they
I'm not.
kind
I'm
of
not
fixed
being
it.
like you're okay now. I'm not being like you're out of the doghouse. I'm just saying
Mhm.
like this is like it went from being like a 2 to like a 4 out of 10. It went
You're
Mhm.
on the right
like
track.
this
Now
still
just put it back.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now watch all the D&D community online be like, "Hexblade is back. We're saved. We aren't
We're so
falling for the
back.
bait."
It's so over. We're so back,
That's
guys.
so true. I can't wait for all the warlockers out there to start talking about it.
Oh man.
Also, can I say, because I remember Dylan's comment on our video about that,
Oh, I didn't even
the,
see what he said.
well, he had said, like, how does it feel, Warlock, to be down in the dregs with the Rangers?
Ha!
And they
Ah!
immediately
Ah!
fixed the Warlock
They immediately were like, "No, we're
in
sorry.
their
We'll change it."
newest UA after.
We can't have it be as bad as the Ranger. They're
It
in their
just
own
goes to
class.
show
Is
that
that
how it's the dichotomy of like there are 10 million Warlock players and 2 Ranger players.
Yep.
And that's why they didn't do anything for Ranger because the outcry was like Dylan being
Yep.
like, "This is kind of bad. I don't like this."
I'm not
Oh
having fun
gosh.
anymore.
Okay, well, it's all
Uh,
right. It, in some ways incentivized a melee hexblade person, but again,
yeah.
just not as much as the 2014 version
No.
does. 2014 version isn't great either because it has that really weird specter ability that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Um,
They could have like plug and played some of the old again like this is like they tried to almost do an entire rework of the subclass. They really shouldn't have. They should have done more of a plug and
mm,
play where like they kept probably 70% of the old and put some new stuff in there. Some of these that are kind of okay, like the Unyielding Will and the Armor of Hexes, probably would have worked. But yeah, no, I don't.
mm.
Yeah.
For my money, I think if you're gonna do this, what they need to do is they need to make it to where you can't play a ranged hexblade warlock
Mm-hmm.
because
Reduce your
that's
range
not the
options.
point of it. I
Make it so
think
that like instead of I don't know, do something with the Eldritch Blast. Make it take away the Eldritch Blast and make it to like a buff to your damage or something like.
nah. I don't know. I had an idea, but
Only melee range Eldritch Blast.
I just feel like you should be like every subclass feature should boost it if you're within 10 or 5 feet of the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the way you do it. And then I mean, you can play a ranged Hexblade, but you will get none of your subclass features.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the way to do it, but in compensation, boost the features like crazy. Like boost AC when you're within your Hexblade's cursed target. Boost your saving throws within your within range of your Hexblade target.
Yeah.
You know, other such features like that. Be able to heal when you hit your Hexblade target. Just make it to where you are the melee guy,
Which
hitting with a
2014
weapon
does
attack.
a lot better.
Yes, but maybe I have a different view of the flavor of this class than what the Warlockers have. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like you're right because it's supposed to be you have a cursed sword. It's that's your whole thing. Is it's the sword warlock.
What, you're telling me I have some sort of hexed blade or something? Say that again.
Well, I was gonna say we should do 4, but I feel like we're kind of running up on time, and I know
Yeah,
you
we're getting
have
a little
something you
close.
gotta do, Pertuset.
It's
So I think we maybe we do the 333. I don't know, but I say that's where we call it for this one because
We
hit
do
the
have
2
too
new
much to
ones,
talk about.
and we hit the one that
The
was
returner.
We always
Yeah, the hot
underestimate. We're
stuff.
like, oh, these are old. We'll zip
Yeah.
right through them every time it gets us.
We have too
But-
much to say.
Yep.
So next time, join us. We'll be back, and we'll cover the Arcana Domain Cleric, the Arcane Archer Fighter, and one of the 4 new Wizard subclasses.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
See you next week.
Misery.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!